Good morning / afternoon to everybody. Normally I would say good evening, but obviously it's not evening for us here in the US.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. There we go. Happy Sunday. Thank you very much. I'm Dave.
And I'm Jake. And today we are joined by the fabulous Lappat and Josua Lai.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, guys. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us on this strange out of sequence live stream for us. Completely in sequence for you, being the first time. Thank you for joining us. Absolutely super cool to have you here. We'll say hi to Richard, hi to Jeff, hi to Luis in the chat. I know we've got a few more people there, but and no doubt
diehards. They're up at 9 on a Sunday to watch a stream.
So we'll have the chat there. Josua and Roman, if you spot any questions that come up in the chat that you want to jump in and answer, feel free to do so. But otherwise, we will sort of jump in. How are you guys doing?
I can say I'm super nervous with live things. It feels like dancing naked on a table, but I'm good. Yeah.
Yep. I would just say, please don't dance naked on the table during the show. YouTube won't let the video go out.
That goes on our OnlyFans, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah. On the OnlyFans channel. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm good as well. Super excited. Yeah, and a bit nervous as well. So
yeah. There is nothing to be nervous about. This is easy. like the whole reason why everybody loves what you guys do and people tune in to watch Dave and I and Ben and I, my business partner Ben and I had a conversation about this yesterday, which is our community tends to love everything that has anything to do with our community. So it's like painting minis, playing with war games, like all of our community loves that stuff. And all of your fans love that stuff. So there's nothing to be worried about. Like it's all people that like the same stuff. So it's kind of a cozy feeling knowing that we're pitching this to, folks that like what you do and want to hear about what you do. So
yeah.
So you're saying if we fall on the pillow.
100%.
Yeah, perfect. That's good. That's good.
Sounds great.
I will also say greetings to Black Bear Mini Painting from Taiwan.
Wow. Okay, that's a first.
Hey.
Cool. Thank you for joining us here. Okay, so should we jump in? We'll jump straight into it. Normally we do a little bit of a what have you been up to, what hobby you've been working on, what games you've played, that kind of thing.
But that's for a regular episode. This is a bonus episode.
This is a bonus episode. So we're going to Robin and Josua have got a lot of stuff going on this afternoon, so we will jump into the meat and potatoes of it all, I guess. So quickly, I'm going to switch us to sort of presentation mode.
Oh, this is where it gets fancy. And Dave also narrates what he's doing, which is great.
Yep.
Yes.
It helps us all. So
there we go. It is helpful, I'm sure. It's certainly helpful for me knowing what I'm going to be hitting all the time. Okay, there we go. First thing we do every time we're at this point of the episode is thank our sponsor, the Army Painter. And as you can see in this photo of the Army Painter factory team, we've got sort of third from the left is Sam Lenz, who is the third part of this set of volumes for the Art of series. So super cool that we have that completely amazing and a completely coincidental connection going on there. We asked Sam to join us before the Army Painter had announced the factory team. So excited about that. Anyway,
we've had Adam on as well.
We have had Adam Loper on. Yep, Uncle Adam. And I think between seasons, we're hoping to have Phil, the Glacial Geek, on.
nice.
For our bonus between season episode. So one of the things we're going to be talking about a bit today is the Kickstarter that's running at the moment.
Well, these numbers are all wrong.
They are, yeah. The bottom number should be 20. Instead of 21, should be 19.
Yeah, and the top number definitely is not a 0.
This is true. Things have been going very well. We are up over, I think we're at around 740 backers which is very exciting for the first just under 48 hours. We're very excited to see how far we can take things, and basically it's all about the opportunity to put these books in front of people who will be interested in them and who will be inspired by them, entertained, and educated as well. So we're very excited about that. I just noticed in the chat that Jeff said he'd be lost without the narration. That's fair. I think it's all good. So we'll come back and have, at the end of the episode, we'll have a look and check out live how the campaign is going. But one of the first photos, I pulled a bunch of photos together so we could show these along the way. This is something that I show to a lot of people when I'm talking about Josua's work, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I've seen this stuff." And I say, "Well, imagine somebody who can do this, who can tell a story in the space of like a 30mm base." And I absolutely love this piece. I've mentioned it to you a couple of times before. Can you give us a sort of quick rundown on what you were thinking when you put this together?
Oh, so
Doesn't have to be too long.
this piece actually marks the end of quite a long run of experimental stuff I did. So I was constantly pushing the idea of how much can I take away from a story or from a diorama and still have a story being told in the whole thing. And this is one, I took it almost too far, but it still tells a story. It's a quite an interesting subject for me that helped me to reduce on stuff that creates too much noise in my work and reduce it to the important bits and pieces.
Right.
So yeah, this is basically the output of two years intense study of this main subject,
Right.
actually.
Yeah. See, I assumed it was just Thing taking a nap after finding an apple, but
no.
No,
Roman.
I can say from my part that Josua, with the studies that you have done with about these topics, you are a genius on that. Like really, I think you are a genius on telling stories with the minimum of stuff, but maximizing the impact. That's really lovely. Just wanted to let you know, but you know.
No, it is spectacular, and now that you've mentioned that as well, Jake, I can only see Thing taking a nap. But no, I think that's
I write my own narratives. That's what I do.
I think it is very cool that concept, because I know a lot of times when we're thinking about basing or thinking about some diorama construction, there's the feeling that, oh, I can just put another little thing in, I can put another little Easter egg here, I can have another story being told here. But I love that concept of taking out the noise, the extra noise, and just focusing down to that single sort of voice in there. Absolutely awesome. Very cool. Thank you very much for that. I wanted to get that up out front, the front, and it
is gorgeous. I mean, it looks. I mean, obviously, you guys do a lot of photos with your hands or your fingers in the photos to kind of be like, oh, by the way, this is how big this is. Like, if your fingers weren't in there and you couldn't see the paint pots, I would have no idea how big this is. You know what I mean? Like, that's the level of detail and how well you've done the scale and like the sort of the individual pieces that are on there. The level of detail and care that went into this, because people look at this and like, oh, it's just a green base with a hand and an apple, and I'm like, right, but it's the amount of stuff that's packed into this to show that off. We talk all the time about how you can have a good model, and if you put a base on it, it immediately makes it better. And this is an example of like, you did such a great job with the base that the base enhances everything that's happening. It's the same effect, but it's so realistic looking. Like the little bits of like lavender you've got over there, and like the flower in the corner, and the little like wheat stalks almost. It's so phenomenally done. So
Thank you. One of the things I told the guys at the start of the show, or before the show, was I grabbed a bunch of photos of kind of groupings of things. Next up, I think we've got some photos of some of Roman's work on busts. So first up, we have
Honor.
Yep. So this is a really awesome sort of interpretation of the Connor bust. And I know quite a while ago I tried to do something similar on a smaller, on a sort of 28mm mini with the goggles, sort of that ring of sort of grinding protection around the goggles there. But talk to us about this piece.
Well, I painted him very normal, but I really thought that he's kind of like a miner working in an underhive or something, or living in an underhive, just coming from a shift, and just putting off his goggles. And I really was struggling with how to make this really convincing. And I actually thought to myself, okay, first paint him properly everywhere. Then I placed some masking putty on top of his eyes and on his hair. And then I just used black pigments, super dark coal pigments, you can say, all over his face, body, wheresoever, to make him look that realistic. So it's actually first painting something nicely and then destroying it. That has a lot of power and power of liberation and creativity.
That's awesome.
And there's actually one interesting thing in it. By accident, I had a brush hair going into the paint shop. Like the brush lost one hair. And actually, I'm not sure if you can see it on this photo, but in the end, it turned out to look like a scar. So I was ripping out some more hair of my beard and adding them with matte varnish to have more scars.
Oh, like on his neck.
Yeah, absolutely, something like that. Yeah, this is my beard hair. Yeah.
You can truly say I poured some of myself into this work.
Absolutely. No, and it was really nice to kind of have such a cyberpunk character, but not a clean one, like really keeping him dirty from work. And that's what I imagine. Like for me, the cyberpunk universe is not always like super shiny and a lot of colors. It can be really rough and dirty, and you can see the hard work in his eyes and what he has lost to whatsoever.
Yeah. No, fantastic. Next up is Brooklyn. Oh, sorry. You just
Brooklyn, a pretty cool bust by Pedro Fernandez, that already has a lot of joy in the sculpt, you can say. And I really wanted to paint her with maximum joy that I had. And during that time, I was actually also studying some regular artworks from portrait painters with oil painting and everything. And a lot of these painters use a lot of rough brush strokes to implement volumes and to take things into rough shapes that look awesome because the color is always changing and shifting. And I tried to implement this also in this painting of, I find it really hard to paint dark skin. It's always difficult to paint Afro-American skin tones. And I only can understand it when I'm kind of trying to copy it from other paintings. I cannot copy it from photos because in paintings, you see a lot more color going on. And this was super helpful to study both the skin tone approach and the color approach on this lady. And I used glitter. Glitter was also great to be used in that. So it's like a 70s disco thing going on there with a lot of joy, you can say.
You can definitely see on her shoulder, there's grays, there's orange, there's reds.
Yeah.
Her skin tones are incredible.
Yeah.
You have to kind of be rather brave and put a lot of courage in there to just place it there and leave it there without blending in too much. So it's like a brush stroke of courage and then let it be. So that's something beautiful, but also scary sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt.
I like the reflection you did on her right earring, where you can see it picking up her skin tones.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Just quickly in the chat, Scott has joined us. Scott Radham. Hey, Scott. Thanks for joining us. I know it's super early for you. They said, good morning. Just had to pop in and say, I love you, Roman. Thanks for all the help and support going back to the Cool Mini or Not forums. Roman even shipped me a great miniature project once just because. You're the gold standard for people in this hobby.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks. Arigato.
Excellent. So next up was one that's I thought was very interesting. There's some fairly sort of strong connections, I guess, with Connor, in that there's the that decay or that decay, that grind, that additional element to it.
Yeah, but actually she has more connection. It's the Blair Witch from Pedro Fernandez, and she, for me, has more connection to Brooklyn than to Connor, actually, because I try to. She has a. Oh, sorry. What? That was the chair. Okay, there we go. She has also a lot of beauty in the sculpt. Like she's. On the first glance, she looks very ugly and like a witch or something, but there's some melancholic beauty in the sculpt. And I also tried to paint a lot of skin variations to her. And I did her after Brooklyn and was super inspired to create kind of an interesting skin tone with a lot of texture and variations inspired by the paint job I did on Brooklyn. So, but the theme is completely different and more gross, you can say, and scary compared to Brooklyn. But both are beautiful in their own rights, you can say.
Yeah. Now I love the depth of there's like the green and sort of the purple sort of undertones in the skin there, working through that gray.
Thank you.
There's some wonderful color work on her, like her cheeks where the depressions are, and then her shoulder. It's has that fish belly effect where it's like, it's pearlescent. It goes from like green into like almost like a bluish white, and then into the purple.
Yeah,
I'm usually much more talkative. Like I'm tired, but B, like these are just gorgeous. I'm just like getting lost looking at them.
Yeah. I mean, I can say I am not looking at her very often anymore because she really scares me. Like when I was painting her, she really was like, I don't want to, I'm not sure. And so now I was a little bit shocked when the photo popped up again because I really she's haunting me. So, but that's what witches do. So, yeah.
She's
you have to burn her.
Yeah.
And speaking of witches, with in air quotes, I think the next one we've got the Norns.
That's awesome.
Yeah, these ladies. I mean, I saw the sculpts from Lucas Pina when he released them or showed them for the first time, and I knew they're supposed to be the Greek version of the what's the name? Josua, can you help me? The Greek version.
The Irans.
They spin the fate in the Greek mythology. So I placed them in the Northern mythology, but usually they are placed in the Greek mythology as the Moraines, or no, the what's the name? I forgot about that. The Irans. Okay, thank you. You told me that before. Yeah, the Irans. So basically, I had to put them into the Northern mythology, into the Viking theme thing, to place them as the Norns, and yeah, they just painted themselves because I was so inspired listening to music and just painting them rather fast when the package arrived, and that was a lot of fun and a lot of deep dive into the mythology of northern countries and Vikings and everything, like with a small rune book by my side to paint the right runes and something like that. So yeah,
that's fantastic. Was this another sort of example of where you painted the whole model first? Basically painted their faces first and then painted the
I can say I not really. I kind of painted the faces green completely first, like with a green underpaint, painting. It's called Verdaccio. It's coming from oil painting. And on top of that, I placed watercolors for skin variations, and then mixed in acrylic paints, skin tones, different ones, into that mix. So the green was shining through, and I was like wet and wet, bringing in shadows and highlights into the faces and hands, while the watercolor was reactivated again. So it sounds like super complicated, but actually, if you have a little training in this, it gives you a great kickstart in the beginning of such a sketch, and then you can work on top of that. But usually I'm trying to, I kind of started with the faces, you are right, with the hands, but I always try to keep all elements growing together. So I'm never finishing one element, because I never could say when one element is finished. So I rather have everything grow together from rough to detail, to see where more work needs to be done, or where less work is appropriate to bring focus to another area.
Okay. Well, fantastic. That's awesome. So T. Hermans has joined us, and Jez Hunt has joined us as well from the UK. He said they're lovely. Also said, glad to catch you live. The current film job is pretty intense, long days, so can't stay until 2 a.m. to watch currently, which is what he usually does for our Tuesday night stream. So glad you could join us at a reasonable time, Jez. That's very cool. Awesome. So thank you very much for that, Roman. Next up, I grabbed a few photos for Josua. So these
everybody loves squigs. Squigs are the best.
Awesome. So I know sometimes with our with the Art of series, there are a lot of people who are gamers who paint for gaming, specifically for gaming, who might look at some of the books and go, "Oh, this person just they are creating art, which is not where I'm at." So I always like to look. I know Roman, that your painting started off painting like Warhammer miniatures or wargaming miniatures.
Yes.
Back in the day, Josua is yours as well. So when we see wargaming miniatures painted to wonderful standard, I always like to think that there's that connection that can be made. People can be inspired to go, okay, well, I'm going to take this just a little bit further, particularly with something like a warband.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about these guys?
Yeah, this is a warband I created for a bet I had going on with a friend of mine from my local from my local Games Workshop store, actually. So we gave each other like a month of time to finish a warband from start to finish. And this is the result of this month of work. So it's mostly rather quick paint jobs. I tried to paint at least half an hour per day, and these were mostly done in this small painting sessions in the evening after work, actually.
Yeah.
And the bases almost took longer to create than the paint jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we know you do love your basic.
Yeah.
So I'm going to suggest that with these, we're seeing a lot of detail here. And when you say they're fairly quick paint jobs, is that because you've sort of focused you used sort of lighting and volumes to push the focus towards the detail?
Yeah, exactly. And I focused on the important parts, like the faces of the squigs and like the yellow sunbeams on the hoods of the goblins.
Right.
And I spend a lot of time converting some of them, like the goblin shaman on the mushroom is converted completely.
Okay.
He has another head in the original. Yeah.
Excellent.
They're so cool. I mean, the models themselves are just phenomenal. Like the squigs always have so much character. The hardest part is always painting to get that character to really come through. You did such a good job with all like the little like tricks that I would tell new painters to do, which is the mouths look wet, which is great, and then like the knights, the two squig knights are two of my favorite models ever.
Yeah.
I just think those guys are hilarious. They remind me of the goblins from Legend, the goblins that work for the darkness that get sent out to find the unicorn horn. Like they have with their big like the pointed noses on their helmets and stuff. Yeah, I love these guys. They're great. The cave shaman is awesome. When I was looking, I was like, why does he look different? But yeah, it's the head is different. It's it's the what's that? That hood's from what? That's one of the fanatics that's covering his face.
I don't remember actually. I'm not sure anymore. But my goal was as well to have them all with some sort of headgear on, or like not completely have their heads in the open.
Yeah.
So they have all like hoods on or helmets.
Yep.
Great.
You see on
the boss has the boss has the mask, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Up here.
Yeah, he's the cave squid guy.
Yeah.
The readability and the focus is great as on single models and also as a unit. It's really lovely. Great use of bright and darkness and readability, and that's beautiful as a unit and as single models.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I clicked the wrong button at the wrong time. One of the things I love on the this Goblin's Lance is he has this, sort of the spiral painted on it, but it's painted as if a goblin had painted it rather than an award-winning painter. So it has that line isn't straight, the line isn't perfect. It just really sells that these goblins sort of having fun.
It's quite an easy trick. I basically took some masking tape and cut it in some weird shapes, and then wrapped around it and stippled on red paint with some sort of old brush, basically.
Oh, awesome! That's cool. Moving on to these guys, Space Wolves. So
that's awesome. I'm sure Jeff, our buddy Jeff in the chat, is a huge Space Wolf fan. I'm sure he's losing his mind.
Yeah.
That wolf cloak, that hood is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this is a serious band of Vikings, is what this is.
Exactly. Yeah. So I am a regular part of a painting community in my local store, and I started them there to join a kill team tournament, basically. Sadly, after I finished them, the rules changed completely, so they are useless.
Right.
And I actually started them along with Roman's Dark Angels, I guess. It's around that time, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. From time to time, I really enjoy to paint Space Marines because they are super simple. You can paint them without thinking too much, and I quite enjoyed the challenge to convert every single member of the warband to a certain degree. Yeah.
They're so cool.
The scout is almost completely scratch built out of countless bits and pieces. It's
No, they look wonderful. Kellen Burke has joined us. Hi, Kellen. Says Unreal Amazing. Brett Abbott is also in the chat. Hi, Brett. Says painting fur right now. This is a great inspiration. So, yep. Beautiful work there. And Jeff, Jeff is so awesome. Love it. Excellent. So no, that's great. Thank you very much for that. Also, I grabbed this little guy. This is from Confrontation, is that right?
exactly, yeah.
Yep. I can't remember the name of the dwarves. Are they the Midnor?
I'm not completely sure. I think it's a familiar. Like they have some sidekicks that go along with some wizards, and this is one of them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I painted this one up as a commission.
Okay.
I don't usually take that many commissions because I really like to paint just for my own collection. But from time to time, I take commissions. The people usually have to wait quite a long time to receive the miniature.
Right.
Yeah, but I quite enjoyed that small figure.
Yep.
And painting the OSL and everything on him.
Yeah, he looks
super cool.
looks fantastic.
His scale is super weird. He's like a giant head.
Yeah.
He's all head and beard.
Yeah. And then he has like 2 little feet sticking out and 2 little hands sticking out.
But yeah, beautiful stuff. I just wanted to include that because I love that guy. But knowing that he'd come from Confrontation sort of as a gaming miniature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Josua. Next up, I think so this I wanted to throw this in because it's an interesting connection between the two of you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So Josua, you worked on this one, so do you want to talk about it first?
Yeah, it all started with the beautiful idea that came from Roman to bring these astronauts to life and to have them shipped out to the community of Massive Voodoo to have a contest going on. And the simple subject of having an astronaut doing silly things or doing just random stuff really sparked creativity all around. And yeah, I thought it would be funny to have one making a sand angel on the beach in full suit.
It's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. And Roman, could you talk a little bit about the astronaut challenge?
Well, I think it was 2020. I was carrying this idea around for a longer time. Like I really wanted to sparkle inspiration in people and painters and in miniature painters. And I thought about what would be best, and I came up with the idea of a cute, little, funny, tiny astronaut that can actually travel everywhere. The only border would be your own imagination. So we made a challenge on Massive Voodoo with in the end 276 entries and some out of competition. I actually in this year myself, I created 24 myself because I was so inspired. And I had every day I had 14 new ideas of where I could put such an astronaut. And it was crazy. It was beautiful to see how, you've seen different astronauts traveling to the stars. Some went under the ocean. Others were just kids playing as astronauts or at a carnival or something. So it was really so liberated from the rules of the systems we had, like 40K or Kill Team or a War Cry or whatever. So it was completely taken out of these frames and rules, and this was a really liberating project, and also a lot of fun to see all the entries coming in.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. I've seen quite a few of yours, and I know you also on your Instagram. There's another one that I almost grabbed as well, because when Jake mentioned before, your hands and your fingers are in quite a lot of the shots that help give that scale, but there's one on sort of like it feels very that Martian, that very Martian red sort of terrain where he's reaching out and your finger is coming towards him. It's that it's another.
Oh, the Swistronaut. Yeah, that's
Swistronaut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. that one, I was looking through your stuff, kind of preparing for today's episode a couple of days ago, and I was like, I'm looking through it. I saw the astronaut. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then you had another one, and then I was looking at Roman stuff, and I was like, is this some Euro thing? Like, why do they have a bunch of these little astronaut guys? Like,
now you know.
I love them. I was like, where can I get these guys? But like, it was super cool. I was like, this must be some thing that I don't know about. That's like a European thing that they're all painting like little astronauts, but they're hilarious. They're such cool models, and I love that they're doing all this goofy stuff. There's a commercial. It reminded me of the commercial. I think it's for like baked beans or something. And there's these two astronauts, and this giant monster shows up and it eats a guy. And one astronaut gets away and he's hiding behind a boulder. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And then he farts and the monster turns around again, and that's the end of the commercial. Like, but like the astronauts, I was like, that's immediately what I thought of, and I was like, I want to paint a bunch of these little astronauts.
We'll have to we'll talk with Rowan and see if we can get our hands on some.
Oh, they're great.
Absolutely.
Yep, that'd be great. Awesome. Quickly in the chat, I'm going to say hi. Stephen has joined us from the West Coast, so super early for him. Quentin has joined us. Hello, Quentin. Absolutely fantastic. And Black Bear Mini Painting from Taiwan has said, this is such a lovely event. I would love to join in if it ever happens again.
So we are thinking about maybe this might happen one day again. So maybe there will be an astronaut challenge number 2. We are not sure yet, but we talked about it, and we just have to set the right time frame, and maybe there will be an astronaut challenge number 2, because sky is the limit and imagination is the limit. So yeah, let's make this maybe again. I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. We would love that. Next up, I mentioned, Roman, we're going to talk about some dioramas.
Yeah, that's a big one. Actually, the opposite of Josua's first diorama that was shown.
Yep.
So I packed and glued everything together, what I found, to create, it's called The Last Light, done in 2013. And one of my biggest dioramas so far, you can say. It took me quite a long time to finish, but I pressed this time into 4 months of work because I was creating it for a Games Day, a Golden Demon competition. And it's like 480 hours pressed in these 4 months. So that was interesting. So I glued everything together and then started painting like a big canvas piece. The only things I painted as single models were the angel and the blood angels, some of the blood angels. And the rest was really painted with one large brush, and the brush went smaller the deeper I dived into the project. So it's a huge piece that is in the meantime in a private collection with a collector. There's a lot of heart and soul in that, and a lot of sweat, because it was mainly done in summer under the roof in my old studio where we had like too much degrees, and yeah, it's actually really painted with sweat, you can say.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think when you sort of presented this and showed off the photos, it was just an incredible moment where people were like, "Oh, this can be this sort of hobby, this craft of ours can be so much more."
I mean, I was really thinking about what makes the thing going on when I roll the dice to play something, or when I read the books about Space Marines. But this is how I imagine such fights. I don't imagine small duels like Space Marine 1 fighting against Space Marine 2. No, I really see the grimdark future as super grimdark and like with masses of, I mean, look at the artworks from GW, you see such stuff, and I really wanted to kind of bring this into a diorama, kind of the feeling of epicness.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely. We Jake.
So as a Blood Angel player, obviously they win. I mean, let's be real. They're just killing bugs. But yeah, this is incredible. Like, I absolutely love this. The Death Company Dreadnought that's like buried under like Gene Stealers is great. You've got like the whole host of guys kind of fighting their way out from the pile. My favorite is probably the Carnifex trying to like climb up to get to the Sanguinary Guard. It's great. There's so much cool like motion and action in this piece. and the way you use the light to show like almost the exposed rock and like the bits up the top, and then as it gets darker, the further down you get, it's so cool. It's such a great play. That I think the best thing I like about both of your works in particular, especially a lot of the dioramas, is as a miniature painter, the work you do on the miniatures is spectacular. But as someone who actually went to art school, you do so much of the classical like use of light and dark and sort of positioning to sort of add to the story and add to the dynamism of the piece. And this particular diorama is just so it speaks to that so well.
Thank you. Arigato.
And following on from this piece. Oh, sorry. And just before we do move on, I think when at the time when you put this out, it was very much there was a World War Z kind of feel to that. Mm-hmm. Everything climbing on top of everything else to be the thing that devours next. It felt like a race, that the claw, the clawing to the top kind of thing, which was just amazing. Anyway, I love it. So moving on to this piece, The Last Bite.
That's actually the second big. It's the biggest diorama I've done so far in terms of miniatures. Yep. But I had also it's a project that took 6 years because I learned from the first one with The Last Light. I also called this kind of similar. I called it The Last Bite. It's about zombies and a small group of survivors on that bridge. And I was actually having this idea of a drama moment because they are kind of giving over the baby into the secure place, and this is like the drama that's happening with the small group. I really had this idea for a long time, and I found out when I started planning this project, I found out I need a lot of zombies, as I wanted to create the biggest zombie diorama there was in the scale. And unfortunately, after painting 30 zombies myself, I was like super bored of painting too much zombies. So I asked the community and also started a painting workshop about speed painting zombies, where I explained my technique to speed paint a zombie in 15 minutes to my students. And I kind of always introduced everybody in the class to this project, to the idea, and also asked because during that day, they painted like 7 to 8 zombies in 15 minutes or learned to paint that. And I kindly asked if someone wants to donate a zombie after the workshop for this diorama. So in the end, with the help of all the people, I only painted 96 miniatures myself. And the rest of the 408 miniatures were kind of donated by friends from the community and people who sent me miniatures and students from workshops. So this is like a multi-community project where everybody can stand in front of and trying to find his own zombie.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I remember you ran some of those classes at
yeah. There was one.
And yeah, it's fantastic.
So there's even one from Josua. I can see it if you just go in the middle of the picture. If you go down in the middle of it, then you see down there, you see a girl with a pink, even deeper, with a pink underwear.
Yeah. Okay.
She's over there. That's Josua's. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. So that's it's a brilliant piece. We love it.
Yeah, we've shown this one off before on the show. It like this piece is nuts. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Dave Hummel says suddenly needs a community following to get my Marines painted. And Caustic has joined us saying, now I see why Truman does that zombie speed painting workshop.
Yeah.
Consider a demonette diorama.
Already in planning.
That's great. The next thing I wanted to bring up with the framed dioramas.
I mean, box dioramas are nothing new. They are there since the 80s and 90s or something. So, but for my part, I kind of encountered them freshly and new when I was like 3 years ago. I was kind of struggling with finding painting motivation. because everything was like developing so fast. Like Instagram is flushing like a toilet flush of information with great photos, and YouTube and everything is like, and I was actually painting not that much in that year because I had to move a lot with flat and studio. So I was like really, I need to find my motivation back. And I was kind of focusing on what really makes my, what really creates most of the joy I have when creating and working with miniatures. And I found out it's 2 points. It's storytelling and painting canvases, you can say. So I combined these two things and put these small canvases into small dioramas that are framed. So it's actually a 3-dimensional canvas with different topics. I created several of these already and create several more in the future, I hope, because the ideas are kind of the same like with the astronauts. I have 14 new ideas a day, and I also want to put some astronauts in some frames, but not yet.
I love the Death Dealer one that you did. Like Frazetta is one of my favorites. So when I saw that, I was like, at first I was like, is that a picture of Death Dealer? And then I was like, oh, it's a framework piece. I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah. And it's beautiful to see so that this inspired so many other artists, miniature artists, to create something like that. So it's really beautiful to see how you can put sparks out there of inspiration that kind of are coming back into the community and are also leveling up or making the community grow. So this is something really beautiful, I think.
Yeah. This is the next one that I grabbed because it's something smaller number of minis. But it's as impactful. Yeah.
I saw the character and I read one book about the character, and at the same time the character was kind of released, and I was just like, I need to buy her. I need to paint her. I put her in a frame. In the back, you can see like 2 soldiers and also one Lehman Russ from not the I think it was the old game, the Epic game, where I bought this Lehman Russ on eBay for way too much money. If I would have waited a little bit, then they would have released more of these tanks right now. But I didn't. So actually, that tank is worth more than the rest of the figures in that base. Whatever. Yeah, but you can see from the contrast, you can see I really put focus on her. You see the horizon on the back is like super bright. That gives a really bright shine around her, you can say. And also the gun from the tank and the gun from the soldier, everyone, even her sword, everything is pointing towards her. So she's in the center. And also the column on the back, the focus is absolutely focused on her in the bright, dark contrast over there.
That's Minka-esque.
Yeah. The banding here around the column, again, pointing to her, drawing the eye through those lines.
She's super cool.
Fantastic. No, they're great. I've really enjoyed seeing these, and I'm glad there are more on the way.
They take so much time. That's the problem.
But if they bring you joy, that's great.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Fantastic. No, thanks for that, Roman. Next up, I think we're going to go with Josua about this is something as well. There's been quite a few conversations recently about some of the things that Games Workshop is doing with introducing a lot of critters that are resonating with the community. But for somebody who creates stories with beautiful bases and a lot of that, as we were talking before, a lot of that noise stripped out. You've done some beautiful critter work.
Yeah.
I don't know sort of how better to say it at the moment, but can you tell us a little bit about this piece?
So I quite like to paint animals in general because people understand them better. I can show a picture of this squirrel to my mom or to anyone outside the hobby, and they understand what is going on. If I take a picture of my Space Wolf kill team, I'm not able to show it to my mom and to explain without explaining what's going on.
Right.
So this is where I'm really interested in this whole animal or critter stuff, because I feel like it connects on a different level with people outside the whole miniature bubble, if this makes sense.
Absolutely.
And it's super peaceful actually to paint animals, and it's not as easy for the most parts, because our eye is trained to spot the little things that aren't right in the paint shop
Okay.
super quick, because we know how a squirrel should look somehow. So it's quite a challenge as well for the most parts, and they are just plain fun for me. So
No, that's fantastic.
You always do such a great job with like your like the resin bases, like the water effects or the ice effects. Like one of my favorites that you've done is the capybara.
yeah.
I love that model. I was like, the first time I saw it, I was like, man, that's so cool. But you're absolutely right. Without thinking about it, whenever you look at any of the animals, like everybody knows, like, oh, it's a squirrel. I know what a squirrel's supposed to look like. And for the most part, it's weird. In our community, most of the people that are going to see your space wolves are like, oh, I know what a space wolf is. But not everybody's going to know necessarily like what a capybara is supposed to look like. But it's weird. It is a totally different thing. But inherently, much more people are going to know what this should look like, as opposed to something that's, from one of the fantasy games or the sci-fi games that we play. So, but no, he looks great. Like there's so much attention to all the little bits. Like, you've got the bits of the stalks coming up through the ice, and the squirrel's like, is that ice going to hold me? Should I jump down and grab that acorn? I really want it. Like, you can see him thinking about, man, I really want to get that.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Next up to this Robin.
That's not a robin. That's what is that? A finch?
That is a robin.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's a robin. Yeah.
Our robins look different over here.
Right, a European robin. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, you're going to be asking about the airspeed velocity, aren't you?
Yeah. How many coconuts can it carry?
That's a swallow we've been talking about. But anyway.
Yeah, this is actually a part of a bust. This robin is part of a bust by Journeyman Miniatures, I guess. Yeah, and I saw that bust, and I knew I would have to get the bust to get the robin, actually.
We've all done it. It's like when I bought a box of Space Marines because I wanted a head that was in the box.
Yeah. Yep. And it was quite a challenge, because the sculpt is lovely, but it has a lot of texture on it, especially on his breast. He has a lot of sculpted fur. So the first thing I did was sanding down all the texture to be able to paint it on, because it's easier for me to paint on texture than rely on texture that is already there from a sculpt. It's just a personal preference for me. And
he's fantastic.
And I spent a lot of time thinking about how I should present him on the base. It was quite a journey, but I'm really proud on how the base turned out. It's one of my best bases for me. Yeah.
No, it's amazing. I saw Tim Marsh from Journeyman at Adepticon this year, and he said, "Oh yeah. So you're doing a book with Josua," and he used our Robin from this bust, and I looked over and it was like, the bust was, I can't remember what the bust was. It was like a Minotaur or something like that. That normally has the Robin.
It's like an old witch lady.
Oh, okay. For that. Yep.
Something like that. Yeah.
I think you must be thinking of another Journeyman mini, but fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this was my piece for the last Games Day, actually, in the UK
Right.
last year. A good friend of mine asked me if I would join him to go to Golden Demon, actually. And it was quite clear for me that I wanted to paint or to create something different, and that fits my theme almost. So I created 2 critters.
Yep.
Yeah, they are actually fighting about a fish. The fish is laying in front of the crab.
Amazing duel. Yeah.
I was like, that parrot is not psyched.
No.
And you tell it's a Warhammer parrot because of the spikes. on the
Yeah.
wings.
Yeah.
But again, this is something that you could show to somebody who doesn't know anything about Warhammer or about sort of science fiction or fantasy or whatever, and they know what's going on. They can see it there.
Yeah.
They might question the spikes on the parrot, but yeah, they're fantastic. And the last one here.
Great.
This one was done for a contest for Durgin's Paint Forge is the name of the online shop. He created this fat cat, Alberto, and had people being able to download it and print it, and created a contest around this cat. So it's similar to the astronaut idea. So you were able to place this cat everywhere. So I printed him and sculpted his hood and the cape.
And you put him in Gotham.
Exactly. He's Fat Cat.
Yeah.
He's not the cat that we need. He's the cat we deserve.
Yeah.
And I actually painted him in one day. It's like one paint session. It was quite crazy.
Yeah. He's fantastic.
Atlas is working really hard to hold him up. He's like,
it's amazing. It's beautiful work. That brings us to the end of that one.
I can tell this is the last slide because it says end of slideshow.
End of slideshow. Click to exit. Yes. Fantastic. So there we go. We are at
We did pretty good. It's an hour. That's pretty good.
It's an hour in. So I did mention that we went have a look at where we're at on the progress of the Kickstarter. So let's show that. And
I just have to laugh about Jess' comment. I'm one with the knight and lasagna. Perfect. That's sculpt.
Yep. Okay, so currently we're at 740 backers, $62,021, 19 days to go.
Very nice.
A lot of fantastic stuff to come.
Hey Dave, if so a question for backers, which I'm sure they'll have because I would have it. If I were to go on and back this,
yes,
and I already have the other ones. I'm going to get these. But if I were to go on and back these as a new backer,
yep,
could I add the old books to this? Do you have a way to do that?
The answer to that is no. They're not going to be included in this Kickstarter campaign. This campaign is just for these 3 books. The previous books are all available now to be purchased through a variety of sources. Your friendly local game store can either pick them up from, if they're in the US, Alliance Game Distributors or Bridge Distribution. And if they're outside of the US, anywhere else, they can pick them up from Warlord Games. Also, they can be bought online, Ironheart Artisans and GameEnvy.net in the US, and WarlordGames.com in the rest of the world.
Nice.
So all available to purchase now. When you go and check those out. We do that because I don't want anybody to have to wait 12 months to get their copy of a book they can have tomorrow or the next day. Is really the thing. Be inspired now. Be creative. Have fun.
Are you guys going to be at any of the shows that Dave and I do? Are you guys going to be at like Nova? Do you ever come over for anything in the States?
Probably not.
It's been
Sad.
Not very soon from my side, because I just have a freshly born baby at home, and life changes a little bit right now.
Yeah,
So
congrats.
thank you. But I was actually traveling a lot to Nova in the past. Like I used to go there for several years. I would love to come back. I also have like people asking me to teach maybe at Adepticon or Las Vegas Open, and also other questions to teach here and there in the States. I have no idea how to plan this right now, so I wait until I have more plan how I plan this. Yeah.
That sounds fantastic. One thing, so after the show, I'll be putting up another update on the Kickstarter and letting people know the next stretch goal. So overnight we've hit the $60,000 stretch goal, and next up is Josua's PDF on creating the frozen lake basing.
Yeah.
So, Jake, that's something you mentioned there. So we've got that coming up next. And then the stretch goal after that will be slip cases for volumes 10 to 11, or the slip case.
Isn't it? Weren't you saying something at 100,000? There's tasteful nudes of each of them as the centerfold of each of their books.
No.
Dancing naked on the table, right?
Yeah. Awesome. So it is time for us to wrap it up. Thank you, everybody who joined us in the chat. Thank you for all your wonderful questions. Roman, you have something to say?
One thing I just want to say thanks to you, Dave, for putting all that hard work out there and for allowing us to be part of that series. I can only speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure Josua thinks the same. We are grateful to you, and we are grateful to everyone who helps to back the project and to who made it possible to fund this so quick. And we are really bringing the best we can in these books for you. I'm pretty sure Josua thinks the same.
Exactly.
Awesome. I just gonna say I love miniatures so much.
It's true, he does.
It's an incredible amount. And obviously I love seeing a huge variety of miniatures and things that people can do with them, and art that people can create, and the passion and the joy and the creativity. I love working in design and creating layouts and that kind of thing. So it works to bring those two things together and do my part for the community. But no, thank you very much. Super excited. Excellent. And in the time we've been talking, we've got another backer, which is fantastic. All the wonderful links are in the show notes below. Awesome. For the next episode of Build, Paint, Play, we have Ash Barker coming on to talk about Grimdark Media, which will be a lot of fun. But yeah, I think anything else?
I don't think so. I think we're good. Josua, Roman, thank you guys so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. It was awesome to get to talk to you guys and kind of get your perspectives on some of your work. And I know the fans loved it. Like you guys have such dedicated followers, and having them pop on to see your stuff and being able to expose you to some new guys. Like I know we have some guys in the chat who probably haven't seen your stuff before. Like we have some guy, Luis, who's a newer member. He came over from the scale model community, so I don't think he's that familiar with a lot of folks in the miniature painting world. So that's really cool. He posted earlier about how you guys are an absolute inspiration, and he was really excited to see your work. So yeah, just thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for having us. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. Okay, so hang around in the studio while we do our the closeout bit of the show.
You ready to go, Dave?
We'll be back in a second. I am almost ready to go. I am so close. Yes, ready to go.
Thank you everybody for joining us in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed this bonus episode. We will see you Tuesday at 7:00 as normal. A huge thank you to Roman and Josua for being here. Make sure you check out the links down below if you want to find out more about the books and back them today so you can get yours. We will see you next time. And as always, do not forget to build, paint, play.
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.